Nate has been downgraded to a tropical depression after making landfall near the mouth of the Mississippi River as a Category 1 hurricane last night, bringing you the latest Hurricane Nate path updates, storm track, weather models, the latest forecasts, tracking maps and videos as the storm moves over the USA. At least 25 people have died after the storm hit Nicaragua, Honduras and Costa Rica earlier this week, with many more missing and thousands forced to evacuate. Storm surge and tropical storm warnings have been discontinued across U.S., with Nate forecast to continue weakening through Monday. We will have the very latest Hurricane Nate news in one place, updated throughout the day and night until the storm has passed. Here are live updates from the NOAA, National Hurricane Center (NHC) and the National Weather Service (NWS), as well as the most advanced weather models from around the world. 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Nate becomes tropical depression. Nate has been downgraded to a tropical depression, according to the NOAA. All coastal warnings have been removed and Nate is now forecast to deteriorate as it moves further north. The latest NHC advisory said Nate's center will continue to move inland across the deep South Tennessee Valley and central Appalachian Mountains through Monday. Surface observations indicate that the maximum sustained winds have decreased to near 35 miles per hour, 55 kilometers per hour, with higher gusts. Little change in strength is predicted during the next couple of days, but Nate is forecast to become post-tropical on Monday or Tuesday. NOAA Hurricane Nate new storm surge warnings for the U.S. 8:37 a.m. EDT. Nate weakening but storm surge threat remains. Tropical storm Nate is rapidly weakening as it moves over the United States, according to the NOAA, but torrential rain and high winds are still likely to produce storm surge flooding for portions of the southeastern U.S. The storm surge warning has been discontinued west of the Mississippi-Alabama border, but remains in place east to the Okaloosa-Walton County line in Florida. Maximum sustained wind speeds have slowed to about 50 miles per hour. 7:50 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Summary of Nate weather warnings. Tropical storm Nate is weakening over Mississippi and Alabama, but a number of weather warnings remain in place. A storm surge warning is in effect north of Point Al-Nahash to the Okaloosa-Walton County line in Florida. There is also a tropical storm warning in place for the mouth of Pearl River eastward to Indian Pass. Nate is currently raging about 80 miles north-northeast of Biloxi, with maximum sustained winds of 70 miles per hour. NHC Hurricane Nate path. Nate will weaken as it heads further inland. 6:45 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Hurricane Nate leaves 100,000 Americans without power. More than 100,000 people across Mississippi and Alabama were left without electricity this morning after Nate knocked out the power. Green Bay Fire Rescue in Alabama reported that power lines caught fire as Nate passed through. The fire service tweeted at 5:17 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Power pole on fire and lines down, Cunningham Road in front of GB Middle School. Al Power has been notified. No ETA. Very busy Friday, October 6, 2017. Photo shows a vehicle crossing a bridge over a high river due to hard rains in Sabanilla area in Alajuelitas, South San Jose, Costa Rica. 6:20 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Hurricane Nate rainfall warnings. Nate was downgraded from a hurricane to a tropical storm this morning, but is still threatening to produce dangerous levels of rainfall. Nate is expected to generate the following rain accumulations through Monday, according to the NOAA. Eastern parts of the Mississippi River from the central Gulf Coast into the deep southeastern Tennessee Valley and southern Appalachians are likely to get 36 inches, with some parts receiving up to 10 inches. Meanwhile, the Ohio Valley into the central Appalachians could see a maximum of 7 inches. The NOAA has warned that the heavy rainfall could cause flash flooding in these areas. 6:07 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Tornadoes to threaten the U.S. today. The NOAA has warned that tornadoes could heap further misery on states still reeling from Hurricane Nate. Isolated tornadoes are possible today, mainly from the Florida Panhandle and eastern Alabama across western and northern Georgia, the latest NHC advisory said. Florida Governor Rick Scott has urged residents to track Nate's movements carefully. He posted on Twitter, Hurricane Nate could cause tornadoes across the Panhandle. Pay attention to local weather alerts. Tornadoes can form quickly and with little warning. It is important to continuously monitor weather updates. GD Hurricane Nate path. Nate hit the U.S. as a Category 1 hurricane. 5:45 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Nate producing life-threatening storm surge in the U.S. Nate continues to cause devastating storm surge flooding for parts of the U.S.'s Gulf Coast. The NOAA said Nate is producing life-threatening storm surge flooding in areas of onshore flow and a storm surge warning remains in effect from Point Al-Nahash to the Okaloosa-Walton County line in Florida. Maximum flooding of 5 to 8 feet above ground level is expected along the Mississippi coast within the next several hours. 5:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Hurricane Nate leaves Mississippi City underwater. Shocking images show the streets of Mississippi City submerged by floodwaters produced by destructive Hurricane Nate. NHC Hurricane Nate path. Nate will move further inland across the USA. 5 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Nate to weaken as it moves inland. Tropical storm Nate is due to weaken rapidly as it moves further inland over Mississippi and Alabama. According to the latest NOAA update, the former hurricane is now forecast to track north, bringing extreme conditions to huge swaths of the Deep South. The latest NHC advisory said Nate's center will continue to move inland across the Deep South, Tennessee Valley, and central Appalachian Mountains through Monday. Maximum sustained winds are near 70 miles per hour, 110 kilometers per hour, with higher gusts. Nate is expected to continue to quickly weaken as it moves farther inland. It should degenerate into a remnant low late Monday. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Hurricane Nate makes landfall on the U.S. coast near the mouth of the Mississippi River. The NHC said at 7 p.m. Central Daylight Saving Time, 12 a.m. Coordinated Universal Time. NOAA Doppler radar data indicate that the center of Hurricane Nate is now making landfall at the mouth of the Mississippi River, near latitude 29.0 north, longitude 89.2 west. Nate is now moving toward the north and a little slower, near 20 miles per hour, 31 kilometers per hour. A turn toward the north-northeast is expected later tonight, followed by a motion toward the northeast on Sunday.